welcome to our podcast. We are attorneys practicing as such at Schoeman-Louw Incorporated, based in Cape Town and Paarl in South Africa. Today, we'll be exploring the complexities of business exits, whether planned or unplanned. I'm Nicolene Schoeman-Louw, and I'm joined by my colleagues Robyn and Hendriks. Let's get right into it. Robyn, let's start off. What does it mean to have a planned business exit, and why is it so important?
Thank you so much for the question, Nicolene. So a planned exit is when the owner deliberately steps out of the business, and this is often after structuring it either for sale or passing it on. And this is usually an agreement between the parties. It's possibly a shareholder agreement. And the agreement here really determines the process which is to be followed between the parties. And the important aspect here is planning, and planning ensures that there's a smooth transition when this does happen. It also ensures that the legacy of the company is preserved, and it's about being proactive rather than reactive and being ahead of the curve rather than trying to put the pieces back together again. But in saying that, Ross, we have spoken about planned business exit. Possibly, could you tell us about unplanned exits and how do they affect the business?
Thank you, Robyn, for the introduction. So from an unplanned exit, the perspective of unplanned exit, so essentially those are triggered by your illnesses or disputes or financial crisis, and this often leads to rash decisions in the business. Now, just elaborating on those unplanned exits and how they have an effect on the business is that you have operational disruptions, and this can often lead to critical tasks or projects that might fall flat as a result of an unplanned exit by either those one individual or those individuals that do decide to leave. And this also has an effect on your operations in terms of there will be now a knowledge gap as well. You have people in your business that have specific skill sets and knowledge that you don't essentially plan on losing in those moments, and that loss essentially have a huge impact on the business as a whole, because now you essentially have a hole in your business where no one else knows or has the essential knowledge that the business requires in order to perform those functions. And this can also lead to financial impacts as well as a team dynamic, the effects on the team. That a sudden loss or unplanned exit can result in a reducing team morale. No one likes to hear that someone unexpectedly left, and this can essentially have an impact on the team morale as well as an increase in the workload. Other factors that you can take into consideration is possibly customer relationships. You don't know whether the person that has exited had a specific relationship with one or other business. And as a result of that relationship, you might end up losing clients because that specific clientele or customer that the business had only stayed with the business as a result of that specific person. So unplanned exits will have an effect on your customer relationships. And I mean, from a strategy point of view, you're looking at a loss of vision. Like I said, they had a specific set of skills. And these unplanned exits, they essentially affect that vision. You had this person brought a specific role to the company, and that can have a huge impact on the business itself. Now, this can all be prevented this can only be prevented with proper planning. So without proper plans, and the business can lose value or even collapse as a result of these disruptions. And having the key measures like shareholders agreements and buy and sell agreements are essential to protect the business in that way. But I think I've spoken enough on unplanned exits. I think, Nicolene, if you can possibly just take us through what the practical advice you would be able to give us for the business owner.
Thank you, Ross. I think we've touched on quite a few key components, specifically as it relates to both the planned and the unplanned. One thing is certain in life, and that is that unexpected curveballs or things will occur in business and in life. And I think having a roadmap for those planned initiatives, as Robyn has said, is quite critical. Looking at planning scenarios whilst things are still good between us and whilst everything is as we hoped it would be is absolutely crucial to say, if either of us want to exit, what does that look like? What does the process look like? If this happens, how will we deal with that? How will we navigate that situation? So those components finding their way into your shareholders agreement and your buy and sell agreement, providing the financial cushion to really be able to do these things, become critically important. As for the unplanned, I agree with you on everything that you've said, Ross. If we can also then map out these things, the reality is any of us can become ill at any stage. Any of us can maybe suffer an early demise. And the reality is we go to work on a daily basis because we are trying to build something. I think at the core of it, every business owner wants to leave some or other footprint behind, making something better, solving some problem. And therefore, we need to be mindful of what that footprint looks like, even when something unforeseen happens. And what do we leave behind to navigate those that are left behind if something like that were to occur? And here it's important to have these critical conversations with your attorney, financial planner, or financial advisor, and then, of course, your accounting practitioner or your tax practitioner that assists you in your business. So thank you so much for everyone's insights. I really enjoyed our conversation. Thank you so much for joining us today. We look forward to seeing you in our next episode. Please like, comment, and share in the box below. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to us.